Okay, happy Wednesday, everybody. Big waves to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so we got to give him a big shout out this morning. Now, it is Hill Blue's birthday. He is at the ripe old age of 35. Um, Hill, I got to say this about Hill. I've known Hill for a while now, and what a blessing. What a blessing. But I'll tell you what I think about Hill. I think about Hill like he's the guy that if you just needed some help around the house, like he can do everything. Like he can lay deck, he can fix plumbing, he's just that good friendly neighbor that everybody wished they had living beside him. And he's such a giver and such a helper. So Hill, we hope you have the best day ever. That's what I think of you. So we'll leave you at the end with our beautiful voices because I mean I've been told that it's a really great sound, us all singing happy birthday together. So our word for today is hope. And I want to say this before we get started. Next week, our word um, starts with I. So if you have a word that you like, you know what, that word starts with I, I'd like to look at that word. Send it to Andrea. Send it to Andrea Rosser. And I'm not saying we'll get to everybody's, but we'll definitely take a look at it and try. So um, the word for this morning's hope, and it's a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. How many of you can all relate? I think we can all relate that we've lived life with hope at some sort at some time. I mean, I remember being a kid and like the excitement of Christmas and hoping because I was a selfish little guy that I was going to get this certain gift from Santa Claus. You remember that? Can you take yourself back? You're like, I hope he delivers this one, and it's that hope, it's that excitement, it's that expectation or desire for a certain thing to happen. And then I came across this and it kind of stopped me in my tracks. And it was what me and you, what we are working to cultivate is not blind optimism, but radical hope. Radical hope. Like, have you ever been told, or maybe you thought before, these people are just too optimistic. They're never going to achieve blah, 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 right? They're just running around optimistic, positively optimistic, but they're not going anywhere. I've had those thoughts about people. I'll look at a football team and I'm like, you don't stand a chance of winning no championship, but you're all acting like you're going to, you know? But then I come across this and I'm like, what we are working to cultivate is not blind optimism, but it's radical hope, expectation, desire for certain things to happen. Hope drives us. So to me, the difference between a victim and a survivor is hope. Because when we lose hope, it's hard to keep striving and contributing. How many of you would agree with that? How many of you know someone, or maybe it's you, that has had hope in something before, and then here's how you know if you're losing hope? You stop attending. You stop attending. You stop showing up because it's too painful to show up. It's too painful to show up because it's a reminder that you've lost hope. So it's just easier to what? It's easier at that point to just move on to something else. People without hope think Why should I even try anymore? I won't succeed. I see it happen all the time. It's happened before to me in my health journey. I'm like, nah, whatever. And before I know it, I put on 15 pounds more because I lost hope, got tired of fighting, got tired of trying to succeed. I've done it in my business where I've went, I tried to recruit, I've tried to do this. It's not going to work. And then before I know it, 6 months has went by and I hadn't done anything personally in my business because I lost hope. So I think of these words when I think of losing hope, scared to move, stuck, rut, mundane, dazed, negative, looking for shiny objects, something else to go do, withdraw. All of those words, would we agree? We want to stay away from those words. I don't think any of us over here is attracted by those words, but losing hope takes us to those words. So I shared all that negativity with you because Andrea is going to share how to cultivate hope because it just doesn't happen. We got to cultivate it where it thrives in our mind. So Andrea, I'll turn it to you.
Well, great message this morning, Coach. And the quote that I found that I pray is so true, and it feels so true, is hope is the only thing stronger than fear. And that's Suzanne Collins, which is actually my son's favorite author. So that's kind of fun. But hope is the only thing that's stronger than fear. And as a fearful human, that's like the most optimistic thing that I've ever read, because if I'm hopeful, then I can work through really anything, any kind of fear. And I think we've all felt like Coach was talking about, like that feeling of hopelessness. And like, just like he said, like you're dazed, you want to hibernate, you kind of want to hide and like curl up in yourself. And that hopelessness can absolutely cripple us. Like I've felt that in so many areas. But if you can find just that little grain, like I pictured the mustard seed, right? That so many of us know about, but I pictured that little tiny grain of hope, we can absolutely overcome. So our job is just to find that little tiny grain and go cultivate it. So how do we do that? First of all, I would say through our faith. The belief that there is something bigger and more important than each of us, right? God, higher power, like it could be a loved one or a mission or a cause, but something that you are, when it's God, it's somebody that's looking over you and protecting you and loving you regardless, right? That it allows you to feel hopeful, to know how we were created and that we were, the way that we were made. That is so beautiful. And if, say, we're a mama and we're feeling hopeless to provide, but we look at our babies, we keep fighting. Like Coach told a story at an event, gosh, this was probably 8 or 9 years ago, the first time I heard it, maybe longer. And he talked about having to walk in. He had a rough day and he had to walk into his kid's room. He told himself he was going to go kiss these babies on the forehead. And that might be my words. I don't know his exact words. It was a long time ago, guys. And tell them that he was walking away, that he was giving up hope. And when he looked at their little sleeping faces, he couldn't do it. And so when we're striving for something, when we have a mission, when there's something bigger than just us, we can cultivate that hope to keep moving. The next thing is gratitude. We've talked a lot about gratitude lately, and you guys know I can't talk about it too much because I get leaky eye syndrome. But when we focus on what we're thankful for, not on what we don't have or what we've lost or what we lack, it reminds us that we do absolutely have more to be hopeful for. And it just flips our mindset. And then lastly, love. When we think about the people in our life that we love, when we think about the people that love us, Like, we are so blessed that we are loved by so many people. And even the love of just one other human is so powerful. When we make a point to connect often and to focus on the love in our life, it allows us to feel so much more hopeful each and every day. And I'm going to end with, like, it can be something that we can do to help create hope in others is to make our mess our message, right? Everybody here, Jay Racer say that. But when we make our mess a message, we say, I think about my story where I was literally in a grocery store and we were choosing, this is kind of cheesy to some of you, but it was my reality. We were choosing between apples and oranges, or maybe a wild thing, you kind of do bananas, but they could be iffy. But we had to pick one fruit between the two kids, and that had to last us because that was all we had in the budget. And when I talk about from going there to being able to fill my counter with strawberries and apples and mangoes and bananas and oranges and kiwi, and it doesn't matter because I can use any kind of fruit that they possibly want. And that's a small kind of silly thing, but to me, it's everything. But when I share that mess, then it allows other people to say, me too, and that there's possibly light, there's hope for me as well. So don't be afraid to talk about your mess to help cultivate hope in others. So I'm excited for today. I'm hopeful for this group singing a beautiful song to Mr. Hill. And I think this is going to be great.
Well, great message this morning. And Hill, maybe unmute Hill if you can. Hill, tell us.
I unmuted
tell us-
everybody.
Hey, Hill, what do you, everybody be real quiet before we sing happy birthday. Hill, what do you appreciate about today on your birthday, buddy?
Just another trip around the sun, and I have people, not only my family, but y'all are like my family, and love I have for this community. It's just really good. I love seeing y'all's faces every day.
Well, we love seeing you, and just so everybody knows, Hill's an amazing dancer. So this guy can go now. This guy can
I don't know
go. So
about
think about that. Think about that this morning. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Happy birthday
more.
Many
more.
Guys, have a beautiful day.
Y'all, Andrew, you're making me happy.